Hey there, and welcome back to Cinephiles. This is always, as always, I am Henry D. Casey. I am a little out of it today. I've had a really weird weekend, but that's not a topic for this conversation. I am joined as always by the wonderful Mike Andronico. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling ready to rumble, despite everything that went down last night. And
The only
while
rumble that
while
I consider is David Arquette. David Arquette right now is the only rumble I acknowledge. So
yes, while we'll get into this towards the end of the show, but we're recording Sunday morning. We had the WWE Royal Rumble last night. Not a great show by most accounts. Disappointed a lot of people, but you know what? Product tangentially connected to John Cena did not disappoint. The latest episode of HBO Max's Peacemaker.
that's not tangentially related to John Cena at all. That's
It
heavily
is
related to John
that
Cena.
is
Um, and yeah, the thing is, if you wanted to stream John Cena, because as our tagline says, you can stream him, but should you? If you wanted to see John Cena this week, while it would have been great if Peacemaker could have opened the forbidden door and showed up at the Royal Rumble, that would have been awesome. No, that didn't happen. But he did show up in Peacemaker episode 5, Monkey Dory, directed by Rosemary Rodriguez. And Mike, I'm going to throw it over to you. Yes, first of all, Magan, yes, the term for the Rumble from GCW certainly applies to the Royal Rumble. It was a clusterfuck. And also the Burning Mania sign is beyond an omen at this point. Yeah, but we'll get to that as we do in our little post-credits bit. Or as I call it, our lights out conversation. Mike, the information corner, the factoid farm. What have you got for us today?
Yeah, got something a little different for y'all today. Not much to report in Wikipedia because, as Henry said, just another episode, another guest director, Rosemary Rodriguez. But I stumbled across an article on Insider a few days that I thought was worth talking about, which says Peacemaker is the biggest streaming series in the world right now as HBO Max originals gain momentum. And this story is citing Parrot Analytics, which says that Peacemaker was the most in-demand original streaming TV series in the world as of January 22nd. It was 69.5 times more in demand than the average series. So a very nice debut for
Nice.
Peacemaker so far.
That's really weird because, like, how do they get that number? Because HBO Max isn't releasing that number.
Yeah,
In demand, are they using social media metrics? Like,
it's very vague. So
seen
Parrot Analytics. Yeah, I'm quoting the insider story here, but Parrot Analytics measures audience demand, which accounts for the interest and engagement with or overall popularity of a TV series. So I'm sure social media is a factor. I'm sure maybe there's some kind of numbers they're pulling from the service. I don't know, but
you know what that
I think
smells
it's more
like? That smells like what WWE says we have the most people on TikTok or whatever.
Yes,
and it's like, yeah,
100%.
right. And your audience numbers in the stadium are exactly what you say they are too. But no, it's awesome. I have one little bonus, but I'm gonna save it for a little bit in. Have you seen the tweet from James Gunn?
Which one?
I'll send it
not
to
the
you.
Not the ones from like 10 years ago.
No,
right?
no. I'm gonna send this to you in a little bit. I'm not sure what would be the best way because I mean I could just post this from the Cinephiles account. Actually, would probably be the best way to do this. I'm gonna post it now, so basically you can get it when we get to that point in the episode. Because maybe this is based off of a combination of things, but so we'll load that up in a second. But first of all, I have to talk about how Peacemaker continues to evolve or just demonstrate his range. Because my first note in this episode is Peacemaker is actually feeding the butterfly, which is both clever, adorable, and dumb. Like,
yes, the full range of this character.
Levels to this.
Yeah, my just kind of high level thoughts on Peacemaker episode 5. This might be my favorite so far. We were chatting about this a bit when we watched on Thursday, but this was definitely one of the most jam-packed episodes. It had possibly the funniest moment of the entire series so far, which you know exactly what I'm talking about. Definitely, it was one of the funniest episodes. Also, one of the most action-packed, some great set pieces, hyper-violent, which is really fun, and just so many great. This episode did such a good job setting so many things up and then paying them off at the end of the episode. from the little story beats to visual gags to objects and weapons that came into play later. So this was a great episode for just setting a lot of cool things up and actually delivering on them.
I felt redeemed. Yes, this is an episode full of long-term booking because there was something I called out early in the season that they finally brought back. That was a little bit. I thought it was something else at first. I didn't think it was what it turned out to be, but so yeah, I love this episode too. But I'm starting to wonder about Eagly. This is, and I say that because I'm a little bit worried for our good friend Christopher Smith.
Yeah, and it's funny. Eagly hasn't really played as much of a role in this series as I expected him to.
Do you think Eagly is gonna be a butterfly?
I mean, he is a creature that flies, so
is that not going to be the ultimate test of Peacemaker's, like?
Can he kill Eagly?
Yeah.
Is he that? Ooh, that would be a heart-wrenching twist.
Is Vigilante going to have to do it? Like, there's a lot that I'm worried about here. But Adebayo doesn't want to place the falsified evidence diary on Cena's property as she's texting her mother. Or I should just say she's, yeah. But I asked about Eagly because why would Eagly suggest, why would Peacemaker eat a squirrel? What the hell was that at the start of the episode?
Yeah, that whole, just Peacemaker recovering from his hangover that we saw at the end of episode 4. He was putting eggs and a whole bunch of spices and other strange things together. I really don't have an explanation for that.
Yeah, Eagly is a mystery wrapped in a flag. But it turns out butterflies, we learned from Myrn, giving a presentation at Economos, lovingly crafted. Myrn reveals that it seems like the first evidence of butterflies was found 1 year ago. And it seems like Peacemaker, the show, wants us to believe that it was Elon Musk and Grimes who were the original butterflies.
They might be in real life, honestly.
It would explain a lot. My barber actually cut his hair before the Met Gala 1 year. It's a really weird little, and they had no chemistry whatsoever, according to her.
Not surprised.
But in terms of surprises, were you surprised by what we learned about Superman in this episode? Because Peacemaker's Google Corner continues to reap benefits about other DC superheroes.
Yeah. God, what was they were talking about aliens, and Superman's an alien.
Superman has a poop fetish.
Yeah, which, no judgment. Everyone's got their thing.
Because the whole conversation is that butterflies wouldn't go up people's butts because Vigilante is like...
Oh my God, the visual, just to set this all up, this is the best, probably the funniest scene of this episode, possibly the whole show. They're watching this PowerPoint presentation that I believe Economos made.
Oh yeah, we know he did.
For some reason, he decided to use, when showing an example of, a butterfly taking over a person, the visual example included a butterfly going up someone's butt. So I guess, that's a thing that can happen. Keep yourselves protected.
Any orifice is what it says. Yes. Any orifice. But Economos just so happen to choose butts because it seems like whenever Economos has to think about something, things go weird. And that's sort of what... I turned subtitles on for this scene because when asked about the poop fetish, Peacemaker says he uber leave the old Scheiße, as I understand it, which means German for Superman really loves the poop. Which
would that make him the Man of Stool? Anyway,
you see what I have to deal with, people. You see, I know that I'm a handful and like I'm always jumping too far forward, but you see what I love about this man? I'm not holding my hands in the right direction, but you see why we have to do this show? It wasn't just because...
Speaking of a handful...
oh, boy.
This leads us right to the best scene of the series, where Peacemaker's just heckling... Peacemaker heckling Economos has been a thing the whole series. And literally, he's just like... There was this one really bad... First, he started making fun of the fact that, like, the presentation started with a human next to a chimpanzee. And he's like, why the hell do you do that? Because, like, chimpanzees are 4 times as strong. And he's like, how the hell were we supposed to gather that? Which was a funny little piece of setup that actually paid off later. But we'll put a pin in that for now. Peacemaker's heckling the PowerPoint the whole time. At one point, he just laughs during one of the animations. He's like, "You fucking suck at PowerPoint."
And
but
this
then,
makes Economos angrily apologize for framing Peacemaker's dad.
Yes.
And he's like, that's all I could think of. And Peacemaker just says, why not? So, and this is where I want to bring up the thing that I just posted on Twitter, Mike. Because I think if we both if you look at the Cinephiles Twitter account.
Oh, did they release the scene?
I think they gave us something better.
I feel like we need a full list of every celebrity mentioned in this.
I think I don't know if this is the end credit scene combined with the main one, but I think this is something that we and the audience might want to watch together. So if you look up the Cinephiles Twitter account, which is twitter.com/CENAPHILES, and you look at one of our tweet that was posted on Sunday at around, it was a retweet at it's a manual retweet almost. It's just a tweet that has the link in it. 1:18 p.m. You will see James Gunn extended cut of #Peacemaker listing names of people who should be framed for murder. And then it has the merman Neptune emoji, which we'll get to later. And I think if we all Mike, I think we should hit play right now to watch this together and then go over it, because I've been saving this. I haven't watched it yet. I am curious how good it is, and then we can react to it in the moment and then talk about it afterwards, and our audience can listen to it too. Because I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1, and then play.
Can you drop me that link?
So I can't really, because of how no, I can't. Hold on a second.
I'll find it. But yeah, just to set everything up for everybody, the long and short of it is, Peacemaker is yelling at Economos, why'd you frame my dad for this murder? And then Economos is like, that's the only person I could think of. And then Peacemaker just goes on to literally just name every celebrity ever, as if they could have just done that and pin this on Drake or Ariana Grande or Michael Jordan or Michael B. Jordan.
Joe Montana. So I've sent it to you.
Oh, there we go.
Everybody saw who I messaged on Discord for a good minute, so I'm hoping I didn't dox myself too bad. So
I just love John Cena saying, "You fucking suck at PowerPoint."
Yep. This scene is the best. And the comments are already awesome. Somebody responded, Peacemaker, Voltron had lions, not tigers. And then James Gunn responds back, maybe in the DCEU he had tigers. And then the blushing emoji. Like, it's
I love it, yeah.
Yeah,
so very, very cute.
3, 2, 1, and play on play. So
okay.
3, 2, 1, play.
And I love Vigilante just being his backup and laughing along with him. Ariana Grande, Drake.
Doug the Pug.
That's a deep cut. The BTS one was a great deep cut. Sharon Osbourne. Bill Cosby.
Dead.
I love how he does not skip a beat when he's told Amy Winehouse is dead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's see if there's any more.
So anyway, that for those that were not watching along, that was John Cena.
Yeah, that was all of it.
Rattling off every celebrity he could think of. He started with Drake, Ariana Grande, ended up just started talking about Optimus Prime, the red tiger from Voltron, like just fictional characters. Amy Winehouse, who's dead. So, and a fun fact from James Gunn on this, he said some of the list was scripted, some was John improving, some was me improving and throwing names at John. It went on forever and we lost it a lot, which makes it, this scene, you could just tell that this scene had some insane improv magic to it, and it was just John Cena going full John Cena, and I loved it.
Yeah, I really love it. This scene is when I know that I'm a greedy person, because I wanted it to be one continuous cut, because it's clearly like a montage almost of him riffing, and like I'm just like, it almost like I'm just thinking too much while I'm watching a show about a himbo or two. So it's like maybe it's my problem, but like I just wanted there to be a little bit more. I don't know, but it was amazing. And yeah, I wrote down Joe Montana, but I think actually they cut this part out because of profanity. I don't think this was in that clip. The fucking cunts from Riverdale might be my favorite line of the entire.
Yeah,
that was my favorite line of the entire thing. And basically the whole gang says, okay, we're gonna go investigate this.
It was they were the factory where they make the
glam
the
tie,
honey, basically.
Yeah, it's called glam tie, which. But before we get there, the White Dragon, Christopher's father, and the cops. The one thing I like Peacemaker as a show a lot. The one thing I don't like is that it has likable police officers. Annie Chang as Sophia Song and Lachlan Monroe as Larry Fitzgibbon. Lachlan Monroe is an actor who, like, he used to be in a lot of he actually also Lachlan Monroe was on Riverdale. But
connected.
Yeah, he was in A Night at the Roxbury, Scary Movie, Freddy vs. Jason, White Chicks, and then it seems like his notable roles took a. He's always doing character work, but yeah, Lachlan Monroe is a character actor of the highest regard. But Sophie, the other agent, Annie Chang, is portraying Sophie Song, and because Sophie Song is Asian, Augie Smith does what he does. He does what he does, and he's a racist piece of shit to her. And then she decides, because he keeps referring to her as like Lucy Liu, or talking about noodles. So she decides to refer to him as random white guys.
It was so good.
I love it.
I didn't catch all of them, but Blake Shelton was one. Shit. I literally just rewatched the episode.
Jimmy Fallon. Guy Fieri.
Yeah, yes, that was the last one.
Because it's guys with hair that are guys with hair that is like, styled upward is the gimmick, I think, that she's.
Yes.
Because that's the thing about Augie Smith that is still weird to me, is that he looks like he has the weirdest hybrid hair of all of the men of King of the Hill. Like,
yes. Also, one side note, I don't think we talked about it on this show yet, and I keep forgetting about this, that Robert Patrick was the villain in The Marine, which makes it so incredible that him and John Cena are reunited. Pretty much in the same roles. He's main antagonist, except he's also his dad now. It just makes me so happy.
I think we had talked about that back when we were watching The Marine, or like right when the show was announced. I think we've mentioned that on the show before. That sounds familiar. But Augie's like demanding that he's innocent. He's like, take my fingerprints, prove it. And then the cops do. They prove that it was actually.
They visit the couple that was bribed.
Yeah, they visit the couple that was bribed, and the guy snitches immediately.
Yep, and the wife is just like,
God damn it!
You fuck. She literally says, "You fucking pussy."
Yep.
Great dynamic they have.
Amber and Evan are their names. Thank you to the people who the Wikipedia page. Y'all are the real heroes. But it's basically, we'll get back to more about the fingerprints later. I think that's basically best saved for the end of the episode. But then we get more of, before we go, this show continues to do tech stuff really well. Because there's a conversation about the fingerprints, Mike. How much did this conversation pop you?
Which part?
We don't have the right fingerprint, like, scanning equipment here or whatever. And my phone doesn't have the macro settings for cameras.
Yes, when I heard macro, I was like, oh wow, they're up on there. They must be iPhone owner.
And then they brought up AirDrop. They brought up AirDrop immediately after.
I did perk up when macro was brought up.
Between that and the WhatsApp gimmick about the nudes. Like, this show is really on. It's like, I am like curious if there's a tech writer on the staff over there.
There might be. But yeah, so now the police know that Augie is actually innocent for this crime, at least. Obviously he's still a Nazi, which the husband mentions. But yeah, so now, we eventually shift gears to the Argus crew, and as we said, they're going to investigate where the butterfly liquid is made. And this is such a fun scene. Oh, sorry, you had something, Henry?
Yeah, we can't go out without a little conversation between Vigilante, Peacemaker, and I believe Adebayo about bullying.
Yes.
because Peacemaker is like, what? Why can't you just bully people anymore? And without like, why can't you just keep giving people shit without being called a bully? But we also learn that Peacemaker has a gimmick that really hasn't been seen in this show yet. It's a gimmick he learned, I guess, in the locker rooms of school growing up. He loves to give people nicknames based around their genitals, and there's a Prince Charming because it was shaped like a scepter.
Just yep.
And then somebody was named, I think, Vigilante is Thimble because he was a late bloomer.
Yeah. Which, that happens sometimes. No.
But like Peacemaker is just a bully.
He's just and as then, lovable as he is on the show, still a huge dick.
Peacemaker was a giant showed before this. He's getting better.
He used to be a piece of shit.
Sure. Peacemaker definitely a sloppy steaks guy.
100%.
And I think then you jump to when they're all in the van because music is continually the backbone of the show, Mike. Right?
100%. Yeah. Oh, this is such an important part. They're bonding. This is where we get the 11th Street Kids.
Yep.
And I forget what Adebayo was requesting music-wise.
Jazz.
But she wanted to hear some jazz.
And then Peacemaker later goes, we don't know, no, Kenny G and then some other band. I don't know that. But Peacemaker is giving hardcore shit about like the deep state, and then hardcore basically admits, this is the deep state running this whole thing. But it turns out Peacemaker and Economos actually have something in common: a fandom of the band Hanoi Rocks.
And Economos reveals this with his 11th Street Kids tattoos, which Vigilante hilariously says, "Ilth Street Kids, 8th Street Kids." He thinks it's letters.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this moment of Peacemaker and Economos going back and forth about how much they love this band, and Economos talking about going to see them. And then they put that song on. They're rocking out to some classic hair metal, which does pay off later on in terms of just the group bonding. But yes, the van scenes are some of the best scenes in the show so far. And
I really think it's when they get to the venue though, like
because when things pop off,
they get out of the car. Peacemaker makes a sexual joke about something that he like. Oh, first of all, Vigilante wants to use a chainsaw. But everybody is telling Vigilante and Peacemaker, no, we don't know what's in there. No big weapons. Calm down. But Peacemaker makes a vulgar joke about something he would do to Harcourt. And it comes up in the conversation that Peacemaker sometimes forget that women have fingers. And
Yep.
And it's like the most inventive himbo shit in the world in this show. But then we learn that the mask that Cena brought to this mission is an X-ray vision mask that he's using to detect and find butterflies.
Yeah, and this scene, this is when we really get into the thick of things in terms of the action, the hyper violence. I thought this was such a good set piece because Peacemaker and Adebayo get to the venue. The first person you see is what you assume is just a quiet old woman. And as soon as Adebayo says hi to her, we just see her head get blown off. It was because Peacemaker has the X-ray vision. You can tell who's a butterfly, who's not. So we get this really violent sequence. He's got a giant shotgun that he just... We get this amazing violent sequence of him just taking out all these butterflies and then killing the butterflies as they come out. So a very cool kind of comic booky tech moment, which pays off really, really big at the end of the episode. But yeah, this whole sequence was fun. We basically have, Argus splitting off into different groups. At one point, our Peacemaker and Adebayo are basically like overrun by butterflies. It almost becomes kind of like a horror movie. It's kind of like they're being overrun by zombies. There's one moment where Peacemaker has some kind of bomb.
Oh no!
Throws it.
He combined a grenade with like a missile shell or something, but before he throws that, we learn that definitely the butterflies can also, when they notice they're found, they turn into basically like shrieking humans. They're kind of like this really weird form, and one of them. It was a Russian tank missile, Russian tank shell, and a grenade. But Peacemaker said the scripting, the writing sends a little bit of little seed is planted here. because before Peacemaker can kill one of the butterflies, who is a factory worker, that butterfly refers to Charlie, who is their guardian angel.
That's right.
Little things to look forward to, because that suggests Myrn might be Charlie. Who knows? But yeah, Peacemaker throws his Russian tank grenade shell into the like mass of butterflies and yells, "Eat peace, motherfuckers!" at them. And Adebayo is sort of surprised that she has to run so fast and wanted a warning. And this is the first time where I'm just like, do you really need a warning? He said it's a grenade and a Russian missile shell. Like,
yeah, yes. Great, another just classic Adebayo Peacemaker exchange. But I love that he just yells, "Eat peace, motherfuckers," as he throws the bomb. Another great detail I love was Adebayo shooting the bodies after Peacemaker killed them, which was just, he's just like, you realize you don't have to do that, right?
I've already done that.
Yeah, their dynamic is pretty fantastic. So yeah, we get a lot of this, them fighting these very jacked up, almost zombie-like butterflies, and it culminates in a big fight with a giant gorilla.
Which we learned first when Augie Smith, when Peacemaker went to his dad's house and there was a television on. It was regular news, not right-wing news. And the news anchor said, "Gorilla has escaped from the local zoo." And it's sort of out of the blue in this scene. All we see is in the distance behind a door, Adebayo running and yelling, "Gorilla!" And
it was just incredible. So we get this ridiculous fight scene, everyone trying to battle this gorilla.
Vigilante stabs it with a blade. And then the gorilla can talk and yells, "Die human," at Peacemaker. And the gorilla is just winning. The gorilla is Brock Lesnar, and everybody else in this was everybody in the Royal Rumble for the last 2 minutes. The gorilla was housing them.
Until the gorilla, we don't see who did it yet, but we see the gorilla get sliced open by a chainsaw.
Like a chainsaw?
Shout out to Limp Bizkit. But a great payoff. So that chainsaw did come into play, but it wasn't Vigilante using it. No, it was Diebeard himself, Mr. John Economos.
You shouldn't say that. It's mean. That's mean. You shouldn't say that.
Listen, it's what we call him now. It's stuck at this point. But yeah, of all people, it was Economos who grabbed the chainsaw and had this big heroic moment, and this very gory scene of just ripping the gorilla in half, which was such a great misdirection, because not only was it the last guy you'd expect to save the day, but also we thought Vigilante would be the one to use the chainsaw. So it was a fun way to set up that gag and actually use it later on.
Do you know the story of the dyed beard?
We talked about this last episode. It's actually a real life thing.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot.
Yeah.
Time. How does it work?
Well, for those that missed last episode,
Steve Agee dyed his beard for the Suicide Squad and didn't want to do it again for Peacemaker, so they're ribbing him. Well, let's move on. Everybody's celebrating. Peacemaker is like helped up by Economos, and there's like Economos has earned his respect, because for once he's not doing something that involves getting Peacemaker's dad arrested or creating a really shitty looking PowerPoint that looks like he had a lot of fun making it. And so they're all having fun in the car. They're listening to that band again, Hanoi Rocks, and Hardcore sets up a group DM called the 11th Street Kids, a group
really
chat.
Sweet. And takes a group photo, which James Gunn actually posted the real. So this was this was like a real sweet, earnest scene in this ridiculous, hyper-violent show where the crew is actually getting kind of tight.
It's coworkers. It's surviving a guerrilla attack is kind of like your first Prime Day. Like it's not it's not dissimilar.
For anyone that's ever worked in e-commerce during Black Friday, they feel like it's pretty comparable.
Yeah. But and there's a photo of Economos too that she takes, but then Adebayo's dropping Peacemaker off at his trailer, and Peacemaker invites her in. And as you might remember, this is like, oh, she could leave that. She doesn't even want to go in and leave the journal. And she accuses him of possibly using this as a setup for some sort of sexual. He He goes, "Are you gonna tell me your dick is a lesbian or something?"
Because Adebayo at this point is so aware of Peacemaker's ridiculous himbo-ness, which I thought was such an amazing line because that is something he would say. So yeah,
It's the
Adebayo
Drake-
continues to be the best.
It's the Drake gimmick of I like girls too. Like it's completely obvious what they would try to do.
And he
but
kind of confides in her about him liking hardcore and him saying, well, technically she called me handsome because she said just because you're handsome doesn't mean you could get away with blah blah blah.
And she makes him explain the context of that, because context cues and context clues are important. Context clues was a phrase I was trying to remember yesterday for a while, and this show helped me remember it. So thank you, Peacemaker. And sorry about the noise. Remember, I live in New York City, and we have fires here, so this is just what
Greatest
happens.
city in the world, baby.
But at Peacemaker's trailer, on the wall, there is a kite man arrested by Peacemaker news article. And shout out to the Harley Quinn animated series, which is the first time I'd ever heard of Kite Man. But that Kite Man reference really hit with me. Like, love a good Kite Man.
Shout out to the Kite Man. Great Easter egg. So we've got kind of Peacemaker and Adebayo having their moment post mission. We also, I think this was before the scene, but we do learn along the way that there's a butterfly in the police department, and that I forgot the character that came to.
That's actually a butterfly. I wanted to bring this up. Like I didn't.
Or I don't know if he was a butterfly, but the person that's working with.
I've got that sort of saved for the end.
Well, because it's all tied together. But there was just some fun moments. There were some fun moments with the detective because they're going to see Judge Judy, which is the funniest thing that's that character's name. But yeah, I mean, we could get. I don't think there's much. left.
No, there is.
We can get to the big.
We have some stuff in the Peacemakers. First of all, Peacemaker. Adebayo sees a photo of Peacemaker and his brother. Peacemaker says, "Yeah, that's my brother Keith," which is, I think, the first time we've learned the character's name. Then Peacemaker pours them both a cocktail. It's called the Peace Train. A peace train is gin, vermouth, vinegar, peppercorn, maple syrup, and yak butter. But you can substitute normal butter if you can't find it, which is what Peacemaker did. And this is such a disturbingly terrible drink that Adebayo goes to the bathroom to throw it out, but Eagly's on the toilet, so that's not going to happen. Neither of them enjoy it. But Adebayo has a heart-to-heart with Peacemaker where she basically says, stop pushing people away with this sort of unlikable personality, basically. I think she might have used the word himbo even, but basically the sexual aggressiveness is pushing people away. And Peacemaker says, but what if I talk to her about, and then says some sort of sexual action. She goes, see, you're getting ahead of yourself. Don't do that. And Magan, shout out to Tom King for his work as Kite Man. But Adebayo eventually they're able to place the fake diary in the house. And then way back when, the FBI, or the police agent, Sophie Song, had correctly identified that it was actually Christopher Smith's fingerprints.
Yes.
And then she did that before the prints were sent off to whatever the next part of the agency is. And then there's the next time we flash back to her, Augie Smith's being led back, and he's screaming about the deep state or something. And it's like, what the hell is going on here? And it turns out there's also this guy who we've seen before who had a conversation with Myrn. And you think he's a butterfly?
I don't know if he's a butterfly. I might be mixing that up, but I remember, we know he's working with Myrn. He went to visit him earlier in the episode, and now he's at the police station saying he's the new acting chief, telling the detectives basically, I'm in charge now. Your boss is, God, I don't even know where, but so obviously this person is sketchy and definitely involved with the butterflies in some way.
He also used a sledgehammer at one point, Myrn says. So I'm wondering what DC characters have sledgehammers, because I feel like we're going to find out this guy is some.
He could be a character.
It's Triple H. But
it's time to play the game, baby.
So he fakes out the records, and then Adebayo, at the end of a long, tired day because she's been fighting with her partner, she goes back to the Argus office. And what happens, Mike?
So Adebayo, who can't sleep, decides to go to the office. She sees Myrn, who's still there working. Myrn's asking what she's doing there. And, Adebayo, being the curious person she is, decides to put on Peacemaker's X-ray vision helmet. And she's looking around like, oh, this is so dope. Just enjoying all the neat tech. And lo and behold, she gets one quick look at Myrn, who immediately charges her because now Myrn knows that Adebayo knows that he's a butterfly. And he chases her out of the police station. She's yelling for help. And then he basically has her pinned down. And that's the end of the episode. Big cliffhanger. So... which I really love. That has me really eager to see what happens next. So the stakes have been raised. Adebayo knows who Myrn is. She's in danger, and we're gonna go from there.
This was one of those episodes where I decided I did not want to look at whatever the post-credit stuff was. I kept watching up until, because HBO Max, they do this for Euphoria, they do always like to show a little bit of next time on. But I watched the little clip of the B-roll of the Economos and Peacemaker shouting scene, and then I moved on because I didn't want to know anything about next week. And I just really loved this episode. It has the character stuff is going well, and it's sort of because they've done the work of building the character up. They can have some progression. Even Hardcore warming to the team feels if it could be a little more earned, because like her despondency in the previous episodes felt a little bit out of place. Like, who knows what they edited out for her, but like it was a pretty damn good episode, especially in terms of the action and the chaos there. I don't know if I would say it's necessarily, it might be better than episode 2, which is the one episode I sort of look back upon as like the slow one. But like I'm pretty happy with this show continuing to be very good.
Yeah, this, again, like I said, this is probably my favorite so far. It's hard for me to compare because 1 through 3 is kind of one big episode together. It's like a lot of us just watch them back to back. But yeah, as like you said, Henry, like so many things. There's so much great character development. I think and again, I'm sure you guys have. If you guys are listening, you've probably watched the episode. If nothing else, watch that scene between Economos and Peacemaker, the funniest exchange of the whole series. It had great comedy, great action, a great cliffhanger ending that had me wanting more. And it's kind of crazy that we have 3 episodes of Peacemaker left. We are whizzing through the show.
Yeah. So I would definitely say, if you can, look at that. Mike, drop the link to the tweet from James Gunn in the thing so people can see that if they want. But yeah, no, really happy with that. And again, join us next time. We're going to go over Peacemaker episode 6. I believe we have 8 total episodes. Let me look at the wait.
Yeah, I think it's 8.
It's funny because Wikipedia is weird because it only lists 5 episodes in the little bubble, because that's how many they've aired, I guess is why they're saying that. But yeah, 8
it is going to be 8. Yep.
Supposedly 8 episodes. We have 2 more directed by James Gunn, with the next episode and then the finale. And then the penultimate episode is directed by Brad Anderson, who has worked on projects such, he directed The Machinist, and the psychological horror film Session 9, and The Call, which makes me think his episode might be the big action horror with all the butterfly stuff. If you bring somebody in for that.
Which is a perfect fit, because they've already teased that the show could get dark and even a little scary. So very excited for that, and of course we're gonna get James Gunn to bring us home for the finale. So yeah, very excited for these last few episodes. Again, our finale episode will probably also be reviewing the show as a whole, and we'll see where it ranks. But things are looking real good for Peacemaker in terms of John Cena's filmography.
2 other things before we go, because it sort of relates to talking about the end of a season. James Gunn is already thinking about a second Suicide Squad spin-off series.
Ooh.
If we get the Ratcatcher or Idris I would love a
Bloodsport.
If we get a Bloodsport spin-off show, hell yes. But also James Gunn has nothing's official yet, but there's an article from Screen Rant that says Peacemaker season 2 is likely to happen. So with the ratings that you mentioned earlier today, I'm happy that I know we're going to come back for the many John Cena projects that are up soon. But it's nice to think that we're at least getting Cinephile season 3, so we can be greenlit for a 3rd season of our show.